My brother called me worthless while relaxing with his girlfriend in the home I paid $600,000 for. So, I replaced the locks and threw their stuff outside on the grass. Now tell me who's really the fool. I couldn't stop myself from grinning, even as he warned me. Hello everyone, before we begin, I've noticed the channel isn't gaining as much attention, and subscribing is the best way to support us. It's quick, free, and genuinely helps grow this fantastic community. Now let's dive into the story. I'm 29, and I guess I finally reached my breaking point. I'd love to say I'm proud of what I did, but honestly, I'm still too angry to feel anything but relief. Here's how I kicked my freeloading brother and his manipulative girlfriend out of the house I bought after he had the audacity to call me a loser. Let's rewind a bit. I'm the oldest of 3 siblings. My younger brother, Kevin, is 27 and has always been the favored child in my parents' eyes. He was the star athlete in high school, had tons of friends, and for years my parents went above and beyond to support all his bad choices. Meanwhile, I was the quiet, nerdy sibling who preferred books and computers to parties. After college, I landed a job in software development. It wasn't glamorous, but I worked my way up. I lived simply, saved every dollar, and 5 years ago, I bought my first home, a modest yet beautiful 3-bedroom in a quiet area. Last year, thanks to some significant project bonuses and a smart investment in a tech startup, I upgraded to an impressive $600,000 home. I never boasted about my achievements. In fact, I offered to let Kevin stay at my place when he and his girlfriend Tasha said they were struggling. The plan was for them to stay a couple of months, save money, and move out. That was 11 months ago. At first, I tried to be accommodating, but it quickly became apparent that they had no plans to leave. Kevin lost his job 2 months after moving in and never made an effort to find another one. Tasha claimed she was working remotely, but all I ever saw her do was scroll through Instagram and watch reality TV. They didn't contribute to groceries, didn't pay rent, and didn't even clean up after themselves. Then came the entitlement. Kevin started acting as if the house belonged to him. He invited friends over without asking, threw loud parties, and once even yelled at me for entering my own kitchen while he had guests. Things escalated 2 weeks ago. I came home from work exhausted to find Kevin lounging on the couch, feet on the table, playing video games, surrounded by pizza boxes and empty beer cans. I asked him to clean up. He scoffed and looked me in the eye, saying, "You're such a loser, Emily. You're lucky we're even here. This place would be boring without us." I was taken aback. A loser from someone who hasn't paid a cent and treats my home like a party pad? I didn't argue. I just nodded, turned around, and went to my room. But inside, something snapped. I wasn't just angry, I was done. I gave them one last week. I told them they had to be out by Friday. No drama, no fights, just gone. Kevin laughed in my face and said, "Good luck with that, sis. You can't evict family." Challenge accepted. I consulted a lawyer. Since there was no formal lease, no rent paid, and they were technically guests, I had every legal right to evict them. So I did. Friday morning, I packed their things carefully and left everything in the garage. Then I changed all the locks. When Kevin and Tasha returned from grocery shopping, they couldn't get in. Kevin pounded on the door for a solid 10 minutes. I watched from the upstairs window, heart racing but calm. He finally yelled, "Open the damn door." I stepped outside, phone recording, and said, "You called me a loser. So who's the loser now?" I pointed to their bags on the lawn. Tasha shrieked. Kevin lunged at me, but halted when he noticed the camera. He tried to act cool, threatening to call the police, claiming I was violating tenant rights, but I had already spoken to the police. I knew the law. I had evidence. I was calm, composed, and absolutely done. They left, not before Kevin spat on the sidewalk and muttered threats. I won't lie, I was shaking, but I stood firm. That night, I finally slept soundly for the first time in almost a year. But here's the twist. The next morning, I received a voicemail from my mom and then another from my dad. Apparently, Kevin had called them in tears, claiming I'd made him homeless out of spite, that I'd always been envious of him. Now I was using my success to destroy the family. My parents believed every word. Mom's message said, "I can't believe you would do this to your brother. Blood is thicker than money, Emily." Dad texted, "Fix this before we cut ties. Family comes first." And here's the kicker. Neither of them offered to help with the mortgage, groceries, or bills all year, not once. But the moment Kevin got kicked out for freeloading, suddenly I was the villain. I haven't responded yet. I want to, but I know whatever I say won't matter to them. Kevin remains the beloved son, and I'm the mean older sister who dared to stand up for herself. I'm considering going no contact for a while, maybe even longer. But part of me wonders if Kevin will actually try something. His threats weren't empty. He said he'd make me regret it, that he had plans. I don't know what that means, but I'm not afraid of him anymore. I took back my house. I reclaimed my peace. But something tells me this isn't over yet. The weekend after I kicked Kevin and Tasha out, I was unusually quiet. I didn't hear from them for 2 days, and for a moment, I thought maybe they had finally accepted defeat. Maybe they were too embarrassed to keep pushing after being thrown out so publicly. I should have known better. That Monday morning, I woke up to a flurry of messages from old mutual friends, screenshots, posts, rumors. Kevin and Tasha had launched a social media smear campaign. They portrayed me as a cruel, greedy sister who evicted her struggling brother to show off my wealth. Kevin claimed I had always hated him and that I had lured him into living with me, just to humiliate him later. Tasha added that I was envious of their love and that I was trying to destroy their relationship because no one wanted to be with a stuck-up tech nerd like me. They tagged people from high school, from college, even some of my coworkers. I was stunned, but then I laughed because here's the thing. While Kevin and Tasha were busy trying to ruin my reputation online, I had already been working on something behind the scenes. Remember that startup I invested in? The one that helped me upgrade to the $600,000 house? Well, I hadn't just invested. I had been freelancing for them as a lead engineer. They had offered me a full-time executive position a few weeks ago. I had been considering it, especially since I was finally rid of my house guests. But when I saw the mess Kevin was causing, I made one call. I accepted the offer. Then I made another decision to clean house. Not just literally, but socially. I posted one clear, concise statement on my own account. To anyone confused about what happened, yes, I asked my brother and his girlfriend to leave after living in my home rent-free for nearly a year. They refused. So, I exercised my legal rights as the homeowner and changed the locks. They are now spreading lies. I will not engage in drama. I have evidence, legal backing, and peace of mind. That's all. I didn't feel the need to elaborate. I didn't need to post screenshots. Just one comment, and I logged off. But I wasn't finished. Remember the threats Kevin made? How he said I'd regret it? I didn't forget. So, when my security camera app sent me a notification at 2 a.m. that night, I was already half awake. I checked the feed. 2 shadowy figures. One wearing a baseball cap, the other with long blonde hair, Kevin and Tasha. They were attempting to break in through the back gate. I didn't panic. I pressed the emergency button on the app. Within 5 minutes, the police arrived. Yes, I had already ensured my house had top-notch surveillance and monitoring. Kevin and Tasha were caught hiding in the bushes near the patio. They claimed they were just trying to retrieve some of their belongings, despite already having everything dumped on the lawn last week. Tasha started crying dramatically, but Kevin looked furious. When they realized I was watching from the upstairs window, Kevin yelled, "You think this is over? You'll pay for this." The police told him to be quiet. They were both cited for trespassing and warned not to come near the property again. The next morning, I filed for a restraining order. The officer reviewing the footage asked if I wanted to press charges. I hesitated, not because I was scared, but because part of me still clung to the hope that Kevin could come to his senses. But then I remembered how he had looked me dead in the eye and called me a loser in my own home. So I said yes. The restraining order was approved the following week. Now, Kevin can't come within 300 feet of me or my property. Just like that, the golden boy was officially banned from the house he once pretended to own. But it didn't stop there. A few days later, I received a call from my parents. This time, they were furious. "How could you get your brother arrested? You're tearing this family apart. He has nowhere else to go, Emily. You're heartless." I didn't respond emotionally. I calmly explained what had happened, how Kevin had trespassed, attempted to break in, and how I had it all on video. They didn't care. That's when I realized this wasn't about Kevin. It never was. My parents had always excused his behavior, protected him, and coddled him. They had created a cushioned world where he could do no wrong. And I had finally punctured that illusion. So, I did something I never thought I'd do. I told them I needed space, indefinite space. I blocked their numbers, left the family group chat, and stopped responding to their endless voicemails. For the first time in years, I could breathe. The house was peaceful, my new job was thriving, and my weekends were filled with walks, books, and real friends. Kevin tried to email me once after that. He begged me to drop the charges, claimed he was sorry and needed help, but I saw through it. He wasn't sorry for what he did, only for the consequences. I didn't reply. Tasha, she's long gone, from what I hear. Dumped him after realizing the free ride was over. My parents are still upset, but I've made peace with the fact that some people only love you when you're quiet and compliant. The moment you stand up for yourself, suddenly you're the villain. I'm okay with being their villain because I'm no longer anyone's doormat. And if that makes me a loser, well, at least I'm a loser with my own house, my own peace, and a lock that Kevin will never touch again.